Okay, so my name is Chris, and this is the POCI system. And this system can be applied for intro to business, sport management, but I'm going to teach you how to use the POCI system for designing a website because the same principles that you learn about in sport management class or intro to business, those same principles apply when you design a website. So what does the P stand for? Well, the P stands for planning. And planning is anything that goes on. So, well, let's say Cal Pope decided to buy a website called speculationsports.com. We're just speculating. He'd have to create a home page with all this stuff on it. We could keep going with like the titles and stuff, but I'm just totally winging this right now. Okay, this is just basic rocket science, but these are the pages: HTML, header, speculation sports, the header. But you want to create this page and home page. I'm just writing some chicken scratch in because creating a home page is pretty basic stuff. And save that as home.html or index.html. Good? Are we good there? So that's the planning process. And when it comes to web design, you're going to want to either use Notepad, Notepad++, Text Edit, or Text Wrangler, which is what I use with the Draft Utopia embedded coding. Because I have a Macintosh, I have an Apple, and Text Wrangler is like the Notepad++ for Apple. I'd highly recommend it if you have an Apple just like me. So, in order for this to work, this has to be uploaded to a file server, and then everything on this file gets uploaded to the page. But that's just the basics. Let's say this home page adds a link, and that's part of the planning process. Part of the planning process is images and linking. Let's say we decided to add a image in the header instead. How would we do that? Well, we go with calpope.jpg. We could do a .gif file or a .ping, but I'm just using this as an example, and you'd probably want to put a slash in there like that at the end, but I'm just doing this to give the reviewers a better idea of how to code this website. But that's adding images to the header or the body is a part of the planning process. Another part of the planning process is the image process. Oh, I mean the anchor process. So let's do crybabycutler.html. And we write crybabycutler, and that would be our bracket. Very complicated stuff, but it's simple terminology, and it's very simple and self-explanatory to remember. You've got to have the quotes in, all the brackets in, and you keep doing that with other web pages. Like, let's say you wanted a Zane Sports web page, or and you keep doing this with HTML pages. But that's the planning process. You can also add in headers header 1, header 2s, and you can put stuff in between the headers. There's the paragraph. There's all different kinds of things, but these tags with the brackets in them, planning to design a website is all brackets. It's bracketology. That's the first step in designing a website in HTML, is figure out how to organize the bracketology for your website to make sure you post good content. Now, the second phase is going to be organizing, the word I just brought up. And you've got planning and you've got organizing. And organizing would be taking an HTML page, this page that we just created, and saving it under a different document. You take this document, save it under that. After you create the home page, and boom, the second document is made. And you can keep planning different brackets and anchor tags. If you want to have a Nancy Boy web page, or you want to have a Denver Dickheads team page, or whatever's on your mind, you can just keep adding those pages in HTML or .php and code this through HTML. I know we don't have a lot of space on this board, but you're organizing your content. You're planning what you're going to put in with the anchor tags, and then you're organizing your content by creating new pages under that name and saving it under the .html name. So if you typed in crybabycutler.html, I know that it's really hard to read. Sorry guys. I'm just gonna I don't own the rights to this. If Cowpelt Radio wants to use this as their official domain, they would own the rights to that, or they could use cowpeltradio.com. But crybabycutler.html, that would be a page, because you create that page. All you would have to do is upload that page to a web host, whether it be GoDaddy or Bluehost, and you use the web hosting features instead of using GoDaddy's website builder or Wix or any of these WordPress sites where they automatically put the info up for you. You've got to create the code and put the work in order for that to work. And you can use these with Windows. These require Apple, these text edit and text wrangler options. But you can keep adding content. Like when you create a Steelers page, you would want the logo, you want things about the team, things that would attract the audience, maybe a certain background color, and you can keep adding stuff in. And then you can do font color too. I'm just throwing out ideas because there is a lot you can do, but you're organizing your content so that it's neat, it's unique, it's proficient, and you're able to perform at a high level. And once you organize everything, you can save it to a .html document, and you upload that to this along with the home page. You upload those to a file server, and those files are your code. You own that code now. So the third phase is controlling. You want to control the content. Let's say this is all we added. You want YouTube videos instead of just content. You could use Website Builder to get the YouTube videos. But YouTube.com has an embedded code button, and you can click that embedded code button, and it enters all your code in there for you, and you put that YouTube code, the embedded code on the YouTube page for your YouTube video in the body like this. Advertisements. You put them in the body. Google, Yahoo, somebody will give you an advertiser code for your HTML website, and you put that code in. There's certain fonts, 720 by 90, 150 by 150, 300 by something. but there are certain height-width ratios to advertising, and you need to remember those ratios in order for your product to be successful. And using advertisements is a form of control. You are controlling the product. Oil Region Rampage wants to keep making pages. They want to add pages for their quarterbacks or pages for players by position like Draft Countdown or Walter Football. They have to create those separate pages in HTML and upload them to the server. This, quarterbacks, Oil Region depth chart. Instead of just making you could also do a table. You could add a table. There's the TR tag and TD, and you keep making those tables. You could have a roster for your starting offensive players, a roster for your starting defensive players, and then you could have a anchor tag link. So if the Oil Region Rampage wanted to create HTML pages for the first page and the second page, for the first string rosters and the second string rosters, they could do that. And ZenBliss could give the commands on how to operate those pages. And obviously this goes there, and second string would go in between the brackets. I'm just showing you some things that you can use to apply techniques to your website. There's anchor tags, there's links, there's headers, there's bold, which is B, like this. There's underline. And the reason I'm showing you all this is because you have to work with it and put the work in. There's I for italic. Ordered list is like whenever I make a mock draft, I always use the order list, and then I use the LI tag for 1. And if you want the order list to start somewhere, you have to use this. And then you enter the number that you want to start with. So let's say we want 9, as in Nancy Boy. 9 is when 9 is going to be the first number. And then 10, 11, every other number after the number 9 is on this list. And that's controlling the content. Now, where is the final page? What's the final page? The final process is implementing the content. And implementing the content means checking the web page, posting this to the web page, typing the web page in to check the material, read the material on your website to double check the font, the spelling, everything. Also, I forgot this. This is pretty big. Like apostrophes, they don't let you use apostrophes. So if you want to use an apostrophe, you have to push this and symbol, number, symbol, pound sign, 146, and then a semicolon. And that's pretty in-depth stuff. But you have to put that in if you want to use apostrophes in HTML. I know it's really picky about stuff like that. And implementing means taking those HTML pages, putting them on a web server, and you double check the web page to see if all the content's there you want. If not all the if there's missing content on your web server, go back to phase 3, controlling. Control the content, re-edit it, re-modify it, redistribute it, and then republish it. Re-implement your content. And once you're satisfied with your content, you can use social media outlets like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Pinterest, YouTube. And if there's another site that lets you comment, a big name site that lets you add a link to your site, and you can even add your site there too, but I wouldn't push my luck. But those are just some methods, and that's the POCI system. You can use this for sport management, you can use this for intra-business, you learn this in sport management, but you want to know what you're doing every single step of the way. Because if we're missing something, slideshows, YouTube videos, and we publish a web page and we want to put that in, we got to go all the way back to step 3. Maybe even step 2 if we're not sure where we're going to organize it yet. But organizing usually only takes place when you're writing the code. Once you upload the code to the web host, you're controlling it. You're modifying your content until you're ready to publish it. You're double checking everything. You're continuing to put the work in. Planning is just like what you know you're going to do, like the logistics. Do you know you're going to have an image of a certain thing? Then you need to get that image, put it on a USB flash drive or your hard drive or your computer, get that image, type it into code so you know where to organize it. Remember what the file name of the image is. That's huge. In fact, you should just focus on the file name of your image or name it something you'll remember and use that to organize your content, because you have to apply that principle. Like if you don't know what you're going to put up on a website, well, everything you learn in coding is pointless. If you're going to create a startup website or any form of website, you've got to learn the basics. And there's more. There's PHP, there's CSS, there's all these other things that I haven't had the chance to learn yet. But I've done well applying what I've learned in HTML through our Draft Utopia website so far. And you can check that out at draftutopia.com. We have a home page. We have a New England Patriots page. And we have different pages, though. We have pages for sports teams, all the NHL teams, we've gotten that up. And we uploaded some of the NBA ones, but I'm still working on the code for that. I'm waiting for the Charlotte Bobcats to lose to the Heat so I could, because I have the Charlotte Hornets as a team page. But that's the POCI system. You organize your content so you know you want to put an image in the body or an image in the header. You've got to organize that. You've got to, if you know, I'd take care of the images first, because if you're picky about a certain image and you want to put that on your site, find that image, plan out where you're going to put it, and plan the height, the width, edit the photo, and organize. And if your file, your .html file is already up on your web hosting server, control. Just skip step 2. If your web file that you want to put the photo on is already up on a web server, just control the photo. Like with all our NFL content, we've planned it, we've organized it, we've controlled it, and we're implementing some of it leading up to the draft. We're going to implement like 4 different teams on May 1st, next 4 on the 2nd, next 4 on the 3rd, next 4. And we're going to do that like once every 3 hours so we can distribute the content evenly and equally. So by doing that, we're getting a better result, we're getting more variety, we're giving our fans excitement, and we can put the YouTube videos anywhere we want in HTML coding. But first we want to create the pages so that we can get the ball rolling, and you'll have more options. We have a comment box. You can find that online. You can just Google HTML comment box, and it will give you a code that you can use to enter a comment box in your web page. And you can just put that in the body anywhere you want. But those are basically the basics of designing a web page using the POCI system. It took me less than 20 minutes to explain everything. And if this confuses you, rewind this video and send me an email to chris@draftutopia.com or cmr1001@sru.edu. Send me an email. I've got a Google email, a Yahoo email. I can post those. Just comment on this video, and after I send those emails, after you comment, ask for more emails, I can just forward you tips on how to do this, and it's very simple, straightforward stuff. We could just make one YouTube video focusing on the planning, one YouTube video focusing on organizing the content, one video focusing on controlling the content, and one video focusing on implementing the content in order to make this simpler. But if you want me to explain everything in under 20 minutes, this is what I got. Crybaby Cutler. That's an HTML. You organize the content on one of these before you upload that. And you have to have a file server, otherwise you're not going to get past step 2. If you don't have a file host where you can upload your content, you're not going to be able to make it past step 2. And you need to have the 4-step program in order for your website to succeed. Like if the domain, you have to have all your content attached to a file host. If you want to use some quick features like WordPress and stuff, cool, go for it. But if you want to learn like HTML, you want to learn how to create links on your pages, you don't just want the links in the secondary pages the thing gives you. You want to have an infinite number of links, different teams, people can click on different stuff so they can be selective about what they want to read. You need to get this HTML stuff taken care of. It'll save you a lot of time. I know we're going through some troubles right now at Draft Utopia, but I'm willing to wait it out and learn this stuff and apply it to make my site better, because that's how committed I am to giving my audience an excellent product. Thank you for listening to this 21 minutes of nonsense, planning, organizing, controlling, implementing, just basic fundamentals to building any website in HTML. PM me or send me an email if you have any questions, and I'm sure the next time I get invited on Speculation Sports or the Sunday Big Show, Cal Pope might have more questions he can ask me about designing this website, and we'll get that stuff out to the listeners. So thanks for, if this domain's taken, just use the Cal Pope Radio or just come up with a random domain. It can be any domain. But yeah, that's basically designing your website, controlling the content, distributing the content, implementing the content. That's web design. So that's file hosting, web designing, organizing your content, making sure, does this go in the header, does this go in the body, knowing what you're going to use to design the page, words, photos, social media links, Twitter links, Google Plus links, and you can look up all those links online, or you can just, you can look up that stuff online or call the customer support for those businesses. But controlling the content means putting the work in and getting the result you desire. And editing content, always edit content if you're not satisfied with the content, or if you see a grammar error. Go back to step 3. That's what step 3 is there for. But you don't get to step 3 until you find a file host and upload all this content to. It was a lengthy process for Draft Utopia. We had to give up the website builder to go to the web hosting, and it works much better now. And it sucks that our traffic's down, but we just have to keep putting the work in and keep building those pages. And then there's implementing the content, putting that stuff on the web. Once you like what you see, you share it with social media, and once in a while, you make a new article on the team page you have. We want to make a new article about the Texans, or we're going to add a table of what they're going to do in the draft or something. We make a new article and link that to their Houston Texans team page and type something else in, or we'll type that in for the readers. But that's there. Planning, organizing, controlling, implementing. You can apply those principles from your intro to business class or sport management class to coding websites, and it is easy. All you have to do is follow the system, POCI System. That's the system, and if you guys have any questions, just hit us up. Thank you. I know this has been excessive.